Greetings, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Squared Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast. And here are your hosts, the Hot Pockets impresario, Johnny Bottles, and the neckbeard psychologist, Dr. Don Wayne.
Here we are again, Don. Here we are again. We're celebrating the grand contract signing of AEW with Warner Brothers Discovery, a company that makes no profit whatsoever, a failed company, signing with a company that's on the verge of bankruptcy. They must have caught these guys while they were asleep. Tony, you just put pen to paper and you ran away. You ran from it. You signed it and took off before David Zaslav woke up and said, wait a minute, what did I just do? Bring me another bottle of vodka. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Johnny Bottles. I am the Hot Pockets impresario. I'm about to have a cerebral hemorrhage just thinking about 3 more years of AEW Dynamite. Just 3 more years to shit all over that show for the next 3 years. Great content for a podcast all around. It was a collective on YouTube. Bischoff, Conrad, JD from NY, all those guys were all, Cornette, they were all, it tickled their toes knowing that they could do this.
Screw those guys. Let's talk about our show.
Over here, Dr. Don Wayne, the neckbeard psychologist, he's at war on Twitter. He's like the gladiator, Russell Crowe in the movie. Are you not entertained?
I
Don,
put out a
we're
tweet.
Just, as the comments say, Don, not the comments in our chat now, as the YouTube comments say, Don, we're just 2 fat, unhealthy old men sitting around talking about wrestling and having a few cocktails. Let's get into it.
I want to
Don,
thank
what do you got
everybody.
first?
I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Please hit that like and hit that subscribe. We are trying to keep climbing. We're over 1,000. We want to keep it going. Hit it up. I appreciate it. I have been at war with these neckbeards who have lost their minds ever since this contract got signed. And all I said was 3 years, $150 million, not exactly what people were looking for. And here's the truth about it. We're going to talk about this right out the gate because this is the hot commodity button. This is what everybody wants to talk about. So like and subscribe. Super chat's open if you got something to say about this contract signing. But here's what I take away from this.
Yes.
The neckbeards wanted the $1 billion bag so bad. They've been saying it all year. Tony Khan's going to sign a $1 billion TV contract. You guys don't know what you're talking about. They're going to get $200 million for 5 years, guaranteed. You guys don't know shit. We're going to get paid. As in Tony Khan's going to give them money. Tony Khan's the guy. You guys don't know how these things work. And then we said back in June, the reported deal that was offered was $150 for 5 years maximum. That came out in June.
Yes.
There was something else that came out in February that it might have been a higher offer then when they had 850,000 people watching. I am very curious.
I think it was 170 back then, Don, and they said a 3-hour Dynamite, no Rampage, and a 1-hour Collision. Rampage was canceled on this new contract. No Ring of Honor involved in this whatsoever. There was no mention of HBO Max involvement in this back in February, and we reported on that too. So we were close, but in our theories.
So this thing comes out yesterday. $150 million, 3 years, not 5. Everybody's screaming it's a 5-year deal. It's not. Years 4 and 5 pay out the wazoo. It's essentially an out clause is what it is for Max. If they say, that's it, this ain't working, we're getting the hell out of here. That's what that is. We're out of here. Go find somebody else to suck money off of, which, by the way, Max, the HBO Warner Brothers Discovery stock keeps plummeting lower and lower and lower. I don't think that thing's going to make it much longer.
They're underwater, Don. They're talking about selling off. They're talking about selling off their licenses for the DC comic book characters. Batman, Superman, all that stuff. Selling them off piecemeal. Do whatever they can. You saw last night on Dynamite. Yeah. I'm not going to mention what happened on the show wrestling-wise, but they had commercials for the DC comic book universe. Buy the new Justice League comic. And they had a little trailer at the bottom of your screen. Picture in picture, if you will. It was great, Don.
So here it is. And we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite last night. We're going to talk about the viewership. We're going to talk about the ratings. We're going to talk about all that. But we're going to stick here on this subject right now because this is something I'm very interested in.
Sure.
It was $150 million is what was reported.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't long after that, and I called you and said, here they go, Bottles. The neckbeards cannot help themselves. They've got to add more to it without any facts, without anything else. Well, technically, they could earn $170 million with the pay-per-view buys. Well, technically, they could actually get $175. Then it got up to $185 million that the TV deal is now worth. None of this shit is substantiated. It's all made-up numbers, hoping that the pay-per-view will pay off down the line. It is completely insane that the people take this nonsense and run with it. They have got zero integrity. They just want to hype this show and hype this contract to the point of bloating it to where it's unmanageable. You can't have these kinds of expectations. What are you doing?
Well, Don, on social media, there's a ton of engagement farmers out there.
I know.
Will put the most outlandish things. They'll put the most outlandish, sweetest icing on top of the shitty cake that they just made or just bought at the store to get people to try it. They get people to click on it and taste it. Aew from Wrestle Purist, a guy who, he's probably the only Wrestle Purists at all. He's just a Wrestle Purist, not plural. He's got a Fightful subscription and a Wrestling Observer account, and he just rewrites news blurbs and all that, puts it out with his own spin on it, and tries to get people to click on it. Trying to make money off of Twitter. Hard to do in this day and age, unless you've got 40 million people following your account, or what have you. Or unless you're Big Money Don Wayne, with the beating up the IWC with his blue check mark. Hitting him over the head with it, like a hammer.
My favorite comment on that is, you pay for Twitter, bro. Don't come at me because you don't have a discretionary income. Talk to your mother. See if you can get a little bit of an allowance bump. Don't worry about my discretionary income, you bum. I enjoy the blue check mark. Suck my white ass ball. I don't care what you think about it. It is what
Easy,
it is.
pal. Easy, pal.
This was
half the videos on this channel can't get monetization because of our language, okay? Let's
I
try to
drop
restrain
any
ourselves.
MFs there. Okay.
I got a little sticky
Hold
note.
on.
Pal. A little sticky note. No profanity.
$150 million over 3 years, because that's what it is. Yes, they can make more on the pay-per-view, but HBO Max also has, or Max as they call it. By the way, Max has a stake in AEW, which was the other thing going all over the internet last night. Everybody losing their mind when that got reported. Tony Khan has said it at his press conferences that Max, HBO, or Warner Brothers Discovery has a stake in this company. He has said it at the press. Hold on, Bottles.
Hang on a second. When you say press conferences, all the neckbeards are going to say they didn't know those media scrums after the pay-per-view. He doesn't say any such thing. What you're talking about when he does a media press conference on the phone or through Zoom for an upcoming pay-per-view. That's what you're talking about.
Yes, an actual press conference, not his scrums where they all suck up to him to try to get a free hotel to the next show. He has admitted as much that they have got a stake in this, but that he is the final key holder. He's the guy that says, I'm the one that decides what goes on my show, but Warner Brothers Discovery has some say. That's why the Briscoes weren't allowed on forever. That's why they couldn't get on TV. That's why that best of 3 series that they had with FTR was only on the Ring of Honor pay-per-views, because they had no stake in that. They weren't going to put it on their television. And the other part of this is, and this is where it really sucks, they took the pay-per-views off the Bleacher Report, and now, from what I understand, it's going to be exclusively on Max. I'm not sure if that's 100% correct yet, but here's the kicker on that. It's not on Max as part of their subscription. You have to buy the pay-per-view through Max. That's like me subscribing to Peacock, and then I still got to pay for the PLE.
I'm sure what they'll do on Max is have them at a discounted rate like it was on Bleacher Report. Anybody in the chat buy an AEW pay-per-view on Bleacher Report? How much were they? $25, $29? It's a lot cheaper than paying $55 or $60 through your cable provider. I don't think they're that high, are they?
I think they're pretty high, man. They weren't cheap.
AEW pay-per-views, 99 cents.
You guys are pricks.
Discounted.
Anyway, I want to keep
dollar
talking.
store pay-per-views. But what I'm getting at is they could go ahead and do that, but that revenue, they're going to want the revenue from going through your cable provider or your satellite TV provider, which will be higher. It'll be close to $60 per pay-per-view. HBO is Warner Brothers Discovery is going to be making all the coin off the pay-per-views when you buy them through Max. I'm sure they are. I don't think it's going to be a 50-50 split if they have a controlling interest, not a controlling interest, but they own a stake, as you say, in AEW wrestling. A lot of people refuted it. Meltzer just came out last night and said Warner Brothers Discovery does own a piece of AEW.
That clip, the one you're talking about, that was actually a couple of months ago. That wasn't last
Really?
night. It got republished. Yes, he said that months ago. Yeah, that was old and old and old. So again, I just want to
someone in the chat just said, hate to cut you off, I purchased a pay-per-view through Triller using my VPN. I paid $19.99.
Yeah, see, there's all kinds of ways around it. So if you're telling me that people are finding ways to get around it and only pay $20, don't tell me that you're going to make $25 million in a year doing that, because that's an astronomical buy rate.
Have you thought about this whole relationship between these two companies? You got a company that doesn't make any money whatsoever. It's a nonprofit organization.
Well, I want to talk about that. I want to talk
okay.
about that. The other part about this is they've actually released the numbers publicly, and the neckbeards, every time you say they've got $100 million budget on talent, at least they say the same thing on Twitter every time. Show your sources. Where did you hear this from? You're just making stuff up, you jerk. Go to the Nevada, complete, clear cut. They released the documents. They had to fill out a Nevada actual government form for their pay-per-view to get business expense credits there while they're there, get tax credits, if you will.
For live events,
They put this in writing. This isn't something that the Squared Circle Maniacs podcast is just pulling out of thin air. We saw the documents. It's out there.
Yeah.
It's an estimated months. It was an estimated based off of the numbers they showed. It's $100 million in talent to run 2 live shows a week at a minimum. A year, not a show, a year. Let's make sure we're clear on this. It was also about $1 million a week from what we saw, or $1 million a show to run a live show every week. So let's just say it's $1 million they run it all. That's $150 million right there in expenses alone. Alone right there. You're looking at something. What's up?
The same thing we pulled up with our last show from WrestleNomics, from Brandon Thurston's website, WrestleNomics, which is the end-all, be-all of wrestling-related economic news. For 52 weeks of Dynamite, Don, the average expense is $650,000. Total overall expenses for that show, $33,800,000.
That can't be right.
$33 million a year for that.
Not for the year. Okay.
For the house shows, which they did 5, your Collision, Rampage, Battle of the Belts is all figured in. The pay-per-views, excluding All In, that's a separate gimmick altogether. The expense of All In Wembley, for some reason, was $3 million, as opposed to $1,100,000 for their other pay-per-views. The entire event expense for the year is $66 million. $66 million. Now, that doesn't cover the talent, driving the production trucks in and out, paying the production crew, paying the backstage staff that you never see, paying the marketing department, advertising, any of that. That would be $191 million. $191 million, Don. Estimated total revenue, $154 million. They're $37.2 million in the hole every year. Now, their total expenses, Don, are $191 million, right?
And they just signed a $150 million contract. So no, let's you can take it down, but let's cover that real quick. $191 million of their expenses. They've got to make up $41 million on pay-per-view and merchandise somewhere along the way.
You've got to fire people. You've got to fire people.
And we've been
release people.
Well, you've been bringing this up for a while now. The day that this happens, the day that they sign this, the first thing Khan should start doing immediately is releasing the dead weight going into the new year. So it will be telling in the coming months if he finally says, okay, we got to start cutting bait. We got to start getting rid of some of these people that aren't really doing anything. By the way, thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hit the ring-a-ling on the ding-a-ling. Hit that notifications and that subscription button.
Yes.
We love your support. We love hanging out with you guys twice a week. We appreciate it so much. Back to this.
Remember one thing. It only takes a finger. It only takes a finger, Don. One finger to hit a couple buttons on your phone to make us a weekly part of your lives.
Don't threaten them.
Who would you? Who? Okay, I'm going to ask you right now. This is something that was burning my ass today when all this news, we were talking about it, and I hung up with you earlier today, and I said I'm going to ask him this when we get on the air. Who's the first 5 people you get rid of? High salary people. Who would you get rid of?
I'd have to see who the high salary people are. I really would. I've got to think Wardlow's not cheap. I got to get rid of Wardlow. I'm getting nothing out of Wardlow.
They're not using him.
Yeah, I got to get rid of
Wardlow. I cut Miro loose. I cut
Miro's got to go too.
Loose. Malachi Black, whatever you want to call
that
him this
whole
week.
Aleister Black crew can go.
Yes. The Dark Order. Everybody in the Dark Order, I would launch, and you'd probably save yourself $3 million a year right there for all those people in the Dark Order. Get rid of them all. All the Mexican talent that you're bringing in, get rid of them. You don't need them. You've got so many people that don't even make TV, and you're bringing people in from other promotions. It makes
agree.
No sense. Nyla Rose, I just saw somebody mention her in the chat. I'm not going to name names. Nyla Rose, I would launch also. It's a hard sell when you're having a 240-pound. Almost.
I'm not going down this road. I'm not going down this road.
Lady throwing around little 150-pound real ladies. So
and getting lawsuits brought to the company in states like Oklahoma where they don't allow for that kind of thing. So again, there's sort of there's a fine line here, and you're just creating yourself a whole lot of problems. I want to get back to this though.
But you know what they do? You know what they do? They sign people, Don. They sign new people. MVP got signed.
We're going to talk about all that.
Yes.
If they were to sell, to make up the difference for let's say every pay-per-view is $49.99, right? And I'm being generous here. They'd have to sell 820,000 pay-per-views a year to get to that number. Now, I'm not saying that that's not doable if they do 12 of them a year, but I don't think they do 12 a year. They're working to that, but I don't know that the fan base is really ready for it, because once you start doing that, you've got to start operating like the WWE. Your storyline's got to speed up. You've got to really have some really telling feuds going on. You've got to really amp it up, and I don't know that they have that in this company. I just don't.
He said last week or 2 weeks ago, there's no such thing as long-term storytelling. It's all week-to-week booking. Yeah. That's what he told his employees. It's week-to-week booking. And now this is what you got now. This is what you got. Francis Loop's got something, pal.
Yes, he does.
Tony's got to release people, but he's still hiring people. All the wrestlers from Mexico for one-offs considered under contract? I think
no, he doesn't have them all. He has them as on a per basis deal, but he's got so many signed to long-term contracts that it's just completely unnecessary, and he's not using them all.
Serpentico, Commander, Mortos. I think Mortos signed a contract. It's
I don't want to go through the whole gamut of it. It's just too long of a list to get into. Thank you, Francis, for the super chat. We really appreciate it, man. Greatly appreciate it.
Is my volume low, Don? Is my volume low?
I can hear you.
The white Sammy Sosa said my bottles may be low or he's high. So
he's high.
Sammy, you might be a little high. Anybody else got me low?
All right, let's get to this. Get back to this, okay? There's also a couple of things I want to talk about that was conspicuous by their absence. Rampage, as we said a couple of shows ago, had to go away because it's a dead show. No one watches it anymore. It's not mentioned on this new TV contract. It's gone. Ring of Honor is not mentioned. It's not part of this new TV deal. His little fantasy show of getting Ring of Honor on national television
Right.
is gone.
It's over.
So
I
that's
would
sort
get
of
rid of
where
it
I'm
altogether.
going with this.
Have you noticed? Have you noticed that there may be a movement to incorporate the Ring of Honor belt holders into the regular programming?
Oh, that's very obvious.
Yes. By what we saw last night, we'll get to
Yes.
that.
But it doesn't make any sense. You're carrying a belt of a company that no longer exists except for in the mind of Tony Khan on a program that nobody understands why they're fighting AEW guys. How are you the Ring of Honor champion and you're on the AEW card? Make it make sense.
Don is remembered fondly, Don, by the IWC.
By
Everybody
who?
with orange fingers and wearing no pants right now, remember that company fondly. All those matches with Danielson. What's his name again? Daniel Bryanson.
I don't know.
Daniel Bryanson. And
Bryan
Nigel McGuinness. I gave you an opening. I thought you were going to jump right in with that. Everybody else is using Daniel Bryanson. Why not you?
They are. You sons of bitches. Don't think we don't notice.
And Will
That's
Ocean
my
Spray.
gimmick.
Will Ocean Spray. If I watch these podcasts on YouTube and they're doing bad Harley race impressions, I'm going to burn YouTube down, pal. I'm calling it a bomb threat. Go ahead.
I told them to quit using my gimmick. That's sort of where I wanted to go with this. Talk about it a little bit. Look, I'm glad they're going to be on TV because God knows. Well, I say that I like watching bad TV sometimes. Last night, we're about to start talking about it. I bailed. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't put myself through it anymore. I couldn't do it. I had to get the hell out. Francis is back.
Right.
Guys like
Thank
Lance
you, Francis,
Archer.
Thanks for the fin. Go ahead, Don.
But guys like Lance Archer are confusing because he is only used like once a month, 12 times a year, if that. I would put him on a paper appearance and deal. That's what everybody would do. That's what anybody with a logical brain would do, Francis, is they would put these guys on a per-show commitment. You wouldn't put them on a long-term deal.
He's too afraid of them going to WWE, pal. That's what it is. They even brought in Jake the Snake Roberts to be Lance Archer's manager. And now half the time when Lance Archer comes out, when you see him, he's like Bigfoot. It's a rare sighting every once in a while, but you'll catch him on a Rampage or a Collision. Lance Archer comes out, no Jake the Snake Roberts. Of course, he's on oxygen now, if you see the pictures. But they post on his Twitter.
What is Lance Archer's nickname? The Thunderbird? What the hell is it?
The Murder Hawk. He's the Murder Hawk, Don. The Murder Hawk.
Every time they say that, I just think of Steve Austin saying, go down to the weekend, go down to the corner store and get yourself a cheap bottle of Thunderbird. Every time they say that, I think of that or I think of Foghorn Leghorn. That ain't no chicken. That's just me, I guess. Getting old. Anyway, I want to thank you again, Francis, for the $5.
Yes,
appreciate you watching.
Francis.
Like and subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe because we've got more people watching than are subscribed.
Agreed.
Figure that one out. What was that?
Had to talk to my dog. She's being a complete and total moron. Anyway.
What's the dog's name?
Idiot right now.
What's the dog's name? Seriously.
Molly Holly.
Molly Holly, hit the switch.
Yeah.
Hit the switch for the magic windows.
I guess we're going to have to start talking about last night's show eventually, and I guess there's no better time to start than about right now.
Go ahead, Don.
There were 4,000 tickets, over 4,000 tickets distributed to this show.
It looked fairly full, yeah.
It looked like, well, no, it wasn't full. Though it's a 12,500 seat arena, but they had a good show for AEW. I don't want to take anything away from them. The crowd was really into this. The crowd liked this show. And then we get the ratings today, and they were what?
680,000, Don.
Everybody knew that Daniel Bryanson had a match tonight. Everybody. Everybody knew he was on the main event. Everybody.
Yes.
And I said, I was watching this thinking this has got to be a good show. You're on an all-time high. You just announced this TV contract that everybody's been waiting on. That's one less thing we got to hear about every week. When's a new TV deal? When's a new TV deal? Where here it is. And it started off with Sheldon Cooper yet again breaking it off with Blossom, or whatever the hell that girl's name is.
Jesus Christ. Yes, the former Blossom from the 80s. Half the bottom 50% of the roster could be on a pay-per-appearance deal. Have to go back to work. My break is over. Check the rest of it later. Hey, thank you, Francis, for the other 5 spot. Much appreciated. And you are correct. He could do that, but is the bottom half of the roster worth it? To have on a pay-per-appearance deal. Of course, the world needs ditch diggers too, and every wrestling company needs jobbers. So,
I mean, Francis is on. We've been talking about this. I'm not sure how long you've been watching the show, Francis. We do appreciate it. Everybody, again, please like and subscribe. But we've talked about this in the past about who we would keep and who we'd let go. No one's saying you can't bring back some of these wrestlers on a pay-per-appearance. Bring them back for here's a 3-month stint we're going to use you for this angle. Do something like that. There's so many of them out there on the indie scene that these neckbeards love. Bring them in. Infuse the talent.
Put them on Ring of Honor. Have their skull crushed.
There's no need to bring in Ring of Honor. That thing is a dead brand. 680,000. Well, no, I mean, that's what it is. Ring of Honor's got Athena that everybody seems to love. I've never seen the girl wrestle other than the time she smashed Britt Baker's face. That was the last time I saw her.
I can only imagine that Athena pissed somebody off in that company so badly that they threw her in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, her name is Britt Baker. She smashed her nose into the mat with that ass. It was shake your booty time, and she meant that. She was bringing it down, Hoss. It was coming in hot.
Quite the booty, Don. Quite the booty.
It was coming in hot, son. Also, to talk about this AEW show with Blossom and Sheldon leading us off, before the AEW Collision show started, there were 2 injuries on the show where people got stretchered out.
You mean the AEW Dynamite show, not Collision.
Sorry, AEW Dynamite. Sorry.
They taped Ring of Honor before Dynamite last night.
And who got stretchered out?
It would be Sammy Guevara, Don. Sammy Guevara was wrestling Serpentico, another wrestler that there's no need to have him on the roster. No need to see him at all on TV. And Sammy went to hit. The guy's jumping off the top turnbuckle, and Sammy went to hit a cutter, which is just another name for an RKO. And the guy that he gave the cutter to, when he came down, when they both landed on the mat, the guy's head drilled Sammy in his head and knocked him out. So Sammy is now with a concussion, in concussion protocol. And Lady Frost.
Now, this was the one that was scary.
This is the one that was scary because that girl did not move whatsoever. Lady Frost was she's a journeywoman wrestler. She's been all around the world wrestling. She's an older wrestler. I think she's like 41, 42 years old, but can still go. Her finishing move is the Black Arrow, which is what you see Pac do on Dynamite. That top rope twisting, almost not like a 450 splash, but you get the idea. Well, she does it differently from Pac. She faces the crowd when she jumps off the top. Doesn't face her opponent. Doesn't face the ring. And when you're doing that, you have no idea where your opponent's going to be and where you're going to land. Her knee came down on the girl's head. And Lady Frost is she's a full-figured woman. She's not a little waif. Not a waif like Mercedes Moné. She's probably 200 pounds. Muscular. Came down on that girl. The girl's name was Kelly Madan, or Madden. Madan. And she was knocked out. They stretchered her out. This girl's wrestled for AEW, ROH, TNA, and the NWA, and made appearances as a jobber on WWE TV.
Okay, so she got hurt, and they had to stretcher her out.
She got hurt. No updates on her. Sammy's in. We got the update on Sammy, but no updates on the jobber Kelly Madan.
I also want
Lady
to talk
Frost
about.
Probably feels bad. So
I also want to talk about this real quick because we are starting on AEW.
Yes.
And they always get compared for some reason to NXT because for whatever reason, the neckbeards love to compare it to the C show on the WWE network. WWE moved NXT to CW this week. This was their big move. They did it in front of a live crowd of 7,000 people or something. They had a pretty good crowd show up.
Yes, they did.
They did over 800,000 viewers, like 850 or some crazy shit. 895, yeah. With a .26 demo. Just absolutely crushed NXT this week. Crushed them to their bones. So
yes.
I watched this show for NXT. I'm not a big NXT fan. We've talked about this. It's just too much wrestling for me to watch. I didn't hate it. It was entertaining. I do like the guy, Trick Williams. I like Trick Williams. I think he has a lot to offer. I think they need to call him up rather quickly. He's not young. I think they need to do something with him. You also, I think, got a sneak peek at the next CM Punk angle where he's going next. I think you got a little hoo-ha-ha there going on there. So I kind of like that aspect of it.
Ethan Page, the guy who used to be the champ of NXT. Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if you'll see Ethan Page this Saturday at Bad Blood. I wouldn't be surprised. And that's a guy that AEW didn't know what to do with. He was floundering. Wasn't on TV. He jobbed out quite a few times. Former tag team champ of AEW with Scorpio Sky.
And now he's rubbing shoulders with one of the biggest stars in wrestling, about to enter possibly a feud. I mean,
all the great.
It just goes to show you what happens when you get a good booker, man. I like you, Booker, man.
I can't wait. Let me ask you this: has Lexis King ever said that to Shawn Michaels?
I don't know. But God, I wish he would. It'd be so good. So I want to just give a quick
Booker, man.
I want to give a quick shout out to AEW. That was a strong show. I will be watching next week again.
You mean NXT, Don, not AEW. Unless you're giving them a straw. Unless you really liked it last night, Don.
I've got some problems over here, okay? I've got AEW looking me in the face trying to cover NXT.
If you liked it that much, Don, just admit it. You liked AEW Dynamite last night. Me, I checked out before the main event. I was done. It was horrendous.
Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notifications button, the ring-a-ling on the ding-a-ling. Back to the AEW show. Blossom goes off the air, and here we go with the Cracker Connection, also known as the Proud Boys. They come out to start the show. Jon Moxley and his ilk. Take your pick. Proud Boys, Cracker Connection.
I'm sitting there thinking to myself for a minute there. I'm reading the chat, and then I go, I don't remember that commercial being on before the show last night. Cracker Connection. Come down to the Cracker Connection. The corner of Fleet and Maine. Come on down. The Cracker Connection.
They lead this thing off, and all I can write is, what the hell is going awful? The recording is awful. The audio is all over the place. Why is this every week with the audio with this show? Why is it every week?
The girl speaking in tongues. It was awful.
No, she was speaking her native language.
Which is what? Sling Blade?
I think it's dumbassery. I don't know what it was she was speaking. Mox wants the title, and I don't understand why he's so mad at Daniel Bryanson. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
They've never said.
There's no logic to this.
No. He ought to come right out, with the other Hitler Youth, and do a speech in the middle of the ring, and explain to people why he hates Daniel Bryan.
Who?
Daniel Bryanson. I'm sorry.
There you go. That's better.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get this at all. I still don't get it, and it feels like they're setting this up for Shane McMahon to come in. I swear that's the vibe they're trying to put out, I think. I keep getting that vibe every week. I'm not sure if you do or not. This whole thing, the Bucks beat up TK, Tony Khan, a few weeks ago, right?
We talked about this, yes. And there's no revenge or anything. They haven't followed up with that angle. Why wouldn't Tony Khan get a bunch of guys together and kick their asses?
Hold on real quick. I'm going to throw this up there because Denisha has donated to the show multiple times. Thank you very much. We appreciate you for watching every week, Denisha.
Thank you, Denisha.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Yes. Someone in the chat said Marina Shafir speaks Slovenia. So maybe she's from Slovenia.
Okay. Here's what we're going to say. They're doing the same angle that they did with the Bucks, where they're against the system of AEW. I thought that was still going on. I thought that was still happening with the Bucks and Tony Khan. It's just sort of been swept away, and now this group is in here to take on AEW. I don't understand the mentality of this entire, I guess it's their storyline. Mox just comes back and beats the hell out of his partner, and then that's it. That's it.
It's week-to-week booking, Don. Week-to-week booking. No long-term storytelling. I'm surprised I'm surprised the Hitler Youth Cracker Connection storyline with Claudio Ku Klux Klan has lasted this long.
On to the Ricochet versus Ocean Spray match.
The
And
Ricochet?
Callis,
Ricochet? Is that his new name now?
Ricochet.
Ricochet.
And Don Callis just up and leaves Ocean Spray. He says, go to the match and do your thing.
That's a lovely dress
And-
you have on, honey. You like it? It's a Ricochet.
He just, here we go. And you knew what this match was going to do. It was going to do the same thing. They literally did almost the spot for spot thing that they did all those years ago, where they do the backflip and they do the Mortal Kombat pose in the middle of the ring, and the crowd go banana. And I'm like, here we go. You guys, you've seen this a lot.
Yes. Yes.
How many times do you need to see this before it's just, okay, we're done now. Moving on.
Yes. Double pin.
I don't know
the double pin, Don.
Hold on, I'm going to get to it. I don't know. I said they could do all the cool flips and all the cool moves, but there's no story going on. They sell for 10 seconds, and then they're up and they're making a comeback. And then the other guy's up 20 seconds later. He's making a comeback. It's just there's no story to tell of I'm coming back, I'm going to get my comeback, or I'm beating you down, or I'm being the heel.
Why would you waste this on an episode of Dynamite when this is a match that all the neckbeards would love to see? They would be fully turgid watching that pay-per-view when this match
Easy,
comes
pal.
in.
Easy.
I didn't say anything bad, Don.
Okay.
I'm just saying, why would you waste it on an episode of Dynamite? Why hotshot that when you can just have them start the match and then take a shitter run in and do his thing?
Well, here's the thing.
Not to jump ahead or anything. Not to jump ahead.
The crowd starts chanting "Fight Forever," and I wrote down in my notes, God, please no. Please don't let these guys fight forever. I don't want to see this. And then it happens. We get the BS finish. They both hit whatever the hell that is, a Canadian destroyer or the jump over your head through my ass move. I don't know what you want to call it. But they both hit the same move. They both hit the same move on each other back to back. No one sells. Ocean Spray flops on top of Ricochet, and that's it.
Over my head through my ass. What? Jesus Christ. Jump over my head through my ass.
How else would you describe the way to look at that?
It's just the shits. I would describe it as the shits, is how I would describe it. Look, the stunner, the Stone Cold Stunner, dead. The Styles Clash, dead. The Canadian Destroyer, dead. What was the other cutter they did? The springboard cutter, the Cody cutter, which is what
Cody
it is.
cutter, yeah,
dead. They kicked out of all these moves. They're finishing moves, and in most companies, the Styles Clash is a finishing move of AJ Styles, and they just shit all over AJ Styles.
Do you want to know why this cracks me up? This same fan base hated Super Cena because he did the same thing that they now cheer. They kick out of everything. You booed Cena for the same shit. And now you're cheering Ocean Spray and Ricochet.
Right. Ricochet and Ocean Spray. What you having to drink?
Pin.
I'll have a Ricochet and Ocean Spray on the rocks, please. Thank you. Hey,
That's what this was.
Put a lime in it for me. A lime or a lime me? Nigel McGuinness? Go ahead. I'll have a Nigel McGuinness, please.
That is an actual drink. I've had one.
A Nigel
so they
McGuinness?
Restart the... Yeah.
Or a Guinness?
No, a Nigel McGuinness.
There's a Nigel McGuinness? Is that what you said?
It's right next to the Ricochet. You got to order it.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's at Roost Chris.
Oh, okay. A Nigel McGuinness. I'll have a Nigel McGuinness. That's
anyway,
like a
back to this
three-way
match.
when you're all drunk. We'll get it stout. Go ahead.
That's what we do. They have this whole thing.
That's what we do. What's going on in that house over there? The lights are out. What's going on?
I told you. They get the double pin. Both guys shoulders are down. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
We're going to restart the match. Tony Khan says.
The great Rick Knox is lost. Yes.
And then it happens. You knew it was going to be a run, and you knew it was coming. Who came in to stop it?
Take a shitter.
DQ ensues. He beats up. Take a shitter does both of them. He beats them both up. Takeshita, sorry, that's his name. I'm going to call him by his actual name. Takeshita beats up Ocean Spray. DQ ensues. Then he beats up the Pinball Wizard. I said, I'm out. What else is going to happen?
Same face Takeshita. It looks the same every time you see him.
We get the Mercedes Moné and Renee Moxley Goods segment.
Yes.
And we got a CEO sort of clipping.
Piped in.
They're showing her clip. I don't know what the point of this was. And then MVP walks in. I was like, all right, this just got interesting. He gives her business card. He acts and looks like a professional wrestling manager. He has the look. Now, my one issue when you get a guy like this that is that big, bro, it's hard to get a manager that size to sell as somebody who could be possibly hurt. You know what I mean? The Jim Cornette dwarfs.
He already dwarfs half the roster.
Yes.
MVP does. He's taller than half the roster. You're going to stack him up against Orange Cassidy. You're going to have him stand there across from Private Party. Have him stand across from Kyle O'Reilly. Mark Briscoe. I love Mark Briscoe, but let's be real. You have him stand across from Low Plains Drifter. Come on now. Come on now. Low Plains Drifter would come up to MVP's belt buckle.
For those new to the show, please explain who Low Plains Drifter is.
He's the bounty hunter, Brian Keith. He's the guy with the leather pants up to his nipples in the Jericho Learning Tree faction. He is
Old Man Winters. Respect you, Chris Jericho. So for those of you new to the channel, that's who he is. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notifications button. That would be the ring-a-ling on the ding-a-ling. We are trying to get our subs up. Keep them pushing through the moon, folks. We appreciate your support. The guns are back.
Viewers than we have subs.
That's what's up. The guns are back. The guns are back. And I wrote,
I love the
where
guns.
the hell have they been?
I love the guns. They've been on Collision.
Where have they been?
Collision.
They've got good size. They've got attitude. They look presentable. There's a realism about them. I feel like they could explode at any time. And then what happens? We get the Hangman coming in there and beat the shit out of both of them. Because why not? We got Lazy-Eyed Susan coming in there and whacking them with chairs.
Lazy-Eyed Susan. They're taller than the Hangman.
Yes, much bigger than the Hangman. But no, Lazy Eye's got to put him down, baby. Got to put him in the dirt. Did you notice at this show, his Lazy Eye's getting Shawn Michaels-esque?
It's getting googly-eyed, yes. He's got the Google eye going like it's how did Shawn Michaels get that from Kane? Kane whacked him with a chair or something like that?
Yeah, he got it from Kane, supposedly.
Yes.
Not all the drugs he did. It was definitely the chair shot.
I think maybe the that last match he had with Swerve Strickland, Hangman Page, that is, contributed more to the off-center Google eye. So
that's some bitch
on commentary. Call him Google Eye Jones.
That bitch was floating when he came out there for this match. I noticed that right away. That thing had.
Well, you need that, Don, in case somebody does a run-in. You got one eye on the back and the other eye on your opponent.
You never know who he's talking to. I can tell you that much. Out comes Big Bill.
Big Bill leads off time in this company.
God, man,
guy's so good.
And he's gotten so much better on the mic. He's got the size, and we're wasting him with Chris Jericho. And I just wrote, it's going to be a Jericho segment. You know what's going to happen. He's the guy that announces the TV deal. Of course he is, because he is their big star that's been there from day one. There's no denying that. When this company took off, he was the biggest star that they had in America. Let's not fool ourselves here, boys and girls. Don't try to tell me it was Kenny Omega or Jack Daniel's son or whoever the hell you want to say, or Orange Pockets or Cletus in the Wind. It was none of those guys. It was Chris Jericho was the star. That's just what it was. So it's sort of fitting he would announce their next 3-year contract. He says that he says everybody was wrong. And then out comes Mark Briscoe. Jericho says he'll never be as good as Jay. And I said, why is it with this company? They always retort to the dead relatives. Everything. Christian Cage reverts to the dead relatives. Now Jericho's reverting to the dead relatives. Every one of these, it's starting to go back to this. Like we're just, hate the pun, but we're beating the shit out of a dead horse. Block Larry, where did you come
Where'd you
from?
come from? Where'd you go? Where'd you come from? Where'd you come from? Where'd you go? Where'd you come from? Google Eye Jones. Where'd you go? Where'd you come from? Where'd you go? Where'd you come from? Google Eye Jones.
Thank you, Block Larry, for the 5 super chat. Appreciate you guys. Super chat is open. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notifications button. We are going to push through. We do have Thursday Night Football. We know it's coming. We will get you to the Amazon on time.
Bring back the band Rednecks. They had a hit with Cotton Eye Joe. They could do it again with Google Eye Jones and the new millennium.
Will they take away Chris Jericho? That's all I need.
I don't know. You were going through all that, and I was just wondering what I'm going to have for dinner, much like I do when I see Chris Jericho come on my TV screen. What am I going to have for dinner tonight? I just don't pay any attention to whatever that garbage is that he does. It's horrible. Horrible. It's just,
the next segment, it's like a famous rap band said in the 90s. But wait, it gets worse.
Does the fun ever start?
Darby Allin.
We haven't even mentioned the ratings during all this. Would you like to know what these segments have
Yes,
done?
let's go through the segments because now we're up to Darby Allin. So get me up to the Darby Allin segment if you don't mind, my good sir. What did we jump off with Blossom and the Big Bang?
Blossom and the
Block
Big
Larry
Bang.
gets it. Pablo gets it. Onyx slam. Da 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 da. Make those
Let the
be
boys
boys.
be boys.
It's another one from the gutter one. We have a very eclectic group of people and songs. We went from Cotton Eye Joe to Slam by Onyx, just so you know.
Nothing wrong with that, pal. That would be on my playlist, my Spotify playlist. 801, Don, was Sheldon and Blossom going into the Cracker Connection. There we go. And Bruv and Ricochet, they were all part of that first 15 minutes. And then the last part of that, where Takashita run in and Mercedes Moné, it dropped down to 743,000 people.
From what now?
From 801.
Wow, okay, so it's about 57.
57,000. Yes. And when the Guns and Hangman Page came out,
right,
and then you had Jericho, it says Jericho had a stroke, 702,000. So they really chewed down
another 45,000.
You lost 100,000 people in a half hour.
Okay. So it's got to stay pretty consistent after this then for it to hit 680.
Yeah, it did. It had not a lot of peaks and valleys, Don.
Before you continue, I want to give the Rabbit Wolverine killer his
Yes.
D. He said, congratulations to AEW. Many more years of making fun of them. I agree. We've got at least 3 years on this. We appreciate your super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching every week. We appreciate you guys so much. You make this fun.
Absolutely.
We hope you guys have a good time with some of our puns and our own made-up names. And I keep my eyes on these other damn people on Twitter and their damn YouTube and their damn podcasts to see if they're ripping my shtick. And I see some of you. Don't think I don't. Just give me some credit once in a while. That's all I ask. Continue.
There you go. And let's see here.
Where's the
When,
Darby
Darby
Allin?
Allin's
That should be next, right?
promo
There we go.
started. What's that?
Yep, that's what I was going to say. It should be next.
When Darby started, it was 704,000.
So it stayed there. Okay. I want to talk about this real quick because this was 3 ways of bad. Darby Allin talks about riding on a bus when he was young and getting spit on. Just get spit on. He got up and challenged the guy and he had a knife. And he said, looks like I'm getting stabbed tonight. I say all this to say he then says, I lost my challenge. I lost my shot. I lost it all. So I'm going to
glad he
issue.
didn't say virginity. I'm glad he didn't say that.
Thank you again, Rabbit, for the 5 super chat. I want to say this. He then says, I'm going to have an open challenge for anybody that wants to face me. Stop.
Okay.
Wait. Let me have this because I was freaking shaking. Why does anybody want to face a guy that just lost a match for his number 1 contendership? Why do you want to face the first loser in the company? Who the hell wants to say, I'll fight Darby Allin because he just lost and has nothing to offer me? It's dumb. It's just dumb.
You have to go, and if you're going to make this work, you'd have to get a guy they do nothing with, a jobber in the company, and have him step up and say, hey, I'll fight Darby Allin, and then have him beat Darby Allin as a point of contention. And it started a little feud that way. I wouldn't want to wrestle Darby Allin because he wears the same clothes every week. And I'm sure he's pretty ripe right about now. He's probably as ripe as Big Van Vader was when he wrestled. Everyone said he stunk so bad because he never washed his gear.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So this thing ended, and I just thought, okay, who wants to fight the loser? That's how he's coming off. Who wants to fight my loser ass? Come spit on me. Spit on me for 10 cents. That's what his son says. Spit on me for 10 cents.
Wearing the
We'll
same
get stabbed for
clothes
bus
he always
ride.
wears. Just horrible. It's horrible.
I'm just over this.
Grey Goose, Jim Ross is in the chat. He said he's sure that Darby washes. That's what he said. I said it. I mentioned a comment that without a super chat, I did because I thought it was funny.
Okay.
And
Moving
it's
on
Jim
to
Ross
Adam
in the
Page.
chat, pal. What are you going to say? The greatest announcer
Moving
of all
on
time
to
is in
Adam
our chat.
Page coming out.
Go ahead.
Adam Page comes out. Juice Robinson, they're fighting all around the arena. They're not fighting in the arena. They're fighting all around it. They're not getting in the ring. They're not doing any of this stuff. They're just fighting forever, and out comes the horse.
Sure.
We don't have a match yet, and the horse is out there. And we're getting beer thrown on you. We're getting popcorn thrown on you. And it's just a garbage-ass match.
Terrible. It's a waste of Juice Robinson.
Then they mentioned that Taz was attacked finally. Taz was attacked earlier in the day, and he got his knees taken out, and he's severely hurt, and he can't be there.
He's probably getting his knee operated on. He's got all kinds of health problems from that style he used. He worked in ECW. He's all jacked up. The shoulders, the hips, the knees.
It's clear this is all part of an angle. Like, I get it. It's part of an angle. So, all right, cool. But
why incorporate Taz into an angle?
I don't know. That's the whole thing.
To get his son fired up?
It's Hawk. It's the bat signal. You guys see it? Listen to that shitty rap music. Just drives me crazy. This thing went on. I'm not going to go through this whole match. We get it, Bottles. I'm not going to go through this whole match.
My valve was stuck, Don. My Shivani valve was stuck.
Adam Page low blows him, hits him with the bullshit, buckshot lariat. This thing is over. Out comes Jay White. He starts beating the shit out of him. He throws him to the damn ring. It's over. I don't care. I just do not care.
Great stuff, Don. It was great stuff.
Rather slam my
It dropped
hand
down
in
to
the drawer.
670,000, Don.
I bet it
Great
did.
stuff.
This thing was awful. This was awful.
Jungle Boy Shibata came out after all this. That didn't help the quarter hour any either.
Jack Perry pulls up in his Get Along Gang mobile in the short bus and gets challenged from a guy that I don't remember. Who was the guy that challenged him? I know it's a famous wrestler in this company. Who was it?
It's the guy that Meltzer said had his brain removed and put back in.
Shibata?
They had to do a hard reset on him. He hurt his head in Japan, in New Japan. He's one of the guys that got signed in Tony Khan's raping of New Japan.
Is it Shibata?
Shibata.
Okay. Shibata.
He's the guy that talks through the translator program on his phone. Shibata.
I don't care.
Shibata, I say Shibata.
I don't care. I'm moving on because this was stupid. Jack Perry comes back and attacks him. I don't give a shit about anything he does. Bryanson has a promo saying this is where the best wrestle. Then he states the 20-minute stipulation in this match he's going to have, which makes no sense. For the first 20 minutes, I can win your title, and then I can't. This has to be the dumbest stipulation I've ever heard in my life in a match. It really honestly does.
Why is it got to be so hard? Why are you got to make it so hard? Title versus title. Just make it that. If I beat you, I get your title. If you beat me, you get the championship title. Let's just do it that way.
Have a beat.
It makes no sense.
I don't know.
And it's not going to come to a concrete conclusion anyway. There's going to be a run-in. There's going to be shenanigans. Screw it.
I got nothing else. I don't want to talk about it anymore because Bryanson's just losing me, man. He's losing the plot here to me.
I might want to add that I had a nice cold cut sub from Wawa the other day on ciabatta bread. It was fantastic.
That is pretty good.
It is good.
Britt Baker comes out with the Pittsburgh Steelers fan. She's going to fight Serena Deeb, and this thing was slow, and it was plotting, and it didn't end. And Britt Baker cannot run the ropes to save her life. She looks like a cat slipping on a tin roof the whole time. It's just the shits.
She looks like a cockroach running across the ice cube. It's horrible.
Insane. I'm sitting here looking when they go to picture in picture, and I'm like, all right, she's running the ropes. Let me see if she's got any better. She takes that extra step almost every time. She can't time that shit to save her life. It's oh, there we go. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Did it seem to you in the first 10 minutes of this half-hour match, which didn't need to be a half hour?
No.
The first 10 minutes of this match, that she got irate at Serena Deeb. She let out some kind of primal scream and started throwing hands at Serena Deeb. She doesn't want to work with anybody, Don. She doesn't want to work with anybody.
She can't work. There's a difference.
No, she can't.
I just wrote this. Just get to the end of this. I don't want to ever see this again in my life. It's all
exposed. She's exposed.
This ran through the 9 o'clock hour, right? What was the rating on this turn to Burt? Because I think this isn't when it picks up.
Let me see.
This thing had to run through 2 segments. It had to.
This started at 9:15, according to what I'm looking at right here. 9:15 to 9:30.
No, it was on after 9. It was on after 9.
Yes. 669. So they only lost 1,000 viewers for this match.
I have no idea how. There's a lot of lonely men in this world, is all I can say. A lot of lonely men sitting there and 50-gallon barrels of Vaseline just lathered up from head to toe with freaking tarps spread out across their basement dwelling facilities with Cheetos in one room and Mountain Dew in the other, just thinking about their life.
Hey, man, that Serena Deeb's pretty hot. Mom, don't come down here. Don't come down here, Mom. Yes, I want some more Hot Pockets. Don't come down here.
Then we get
Are you doing that thing again? Change my laundry over. Take it out of the washer. Put it in the dryer. Okay, Mom. Just don't come down.
I don't even want to. Anyway, Christian promo, and I said, I'm done. I can't do this show anymore. I can't do the show anymore. Mariah May segment, and then Pillow Nightingale attacks. Oh. I can't. I said, it's just getting worse. It can't get worse. I was wrong. Because Private Party came out and botched the move, and we got a suck my you-know-what reference on television. Did you catch that, by the way?
Yes, they bleeped it out. The guy wasn't asleep on the switch. He wasn't drinking that Mickey's Malt Liquor 32-ouncer while he was there watching the show. He canceled it right away. Suck. Yes.
I mean, dude.
Can't
really?
say it, but yes. And they just signed a new deal with Warner Brothers
Discovery. I know!
And this moron is doing this.
It's 6th grade shtick that you would do in the playground trying to get into a fight. That's what it was.
That's the fan base. They appeal to the fan base.
The president comes out. What's that guy's name? Angel Mancia. What the hell's his name?
I got to ask you this question before you go further. Just a quick question. Why are they pushing Private Party all of a sudden?
I have no idea. I don't have a clue. They were
jobbers on Collision. They were jobbers on Rampage for months. When Mark Quinn came back, they were jobbers on Rampage. Before Mark Quinn came back, Isaiah Cassidy was a jobber on Rampage and Collision with the Hardy Boys. He was following them around for a while. When they left, he was in limbo. And now they're pushing Private Party. God bless him. Mark Quinn, with AEW hit in 2019, he was a hot prospect. I mean, guy's got a lot of talent, but he hurt his back real bad. Is the talent gone? I don't see it like it used to be. But if they're going to keep on cursing in their promos, he ought to just tell these people, look, you can't do whatever you want to do. Go ahead, Don. I'm done ranting.
Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notifications button, the ring-a-ling on the ding-a-ling. We are trying to climb to 1,100 now. Let's get it going. Like I said, out comes Private Party. What's his name? What's the GM's name on this show? Christopher Daniels.
Dollar Store Adam Pearce.
Adam Pearce,
Christopher
yeah.
Daniels, pal. Christopher Daniels. He's the fallen angel, don't you know? He looks like he's fallen out of the rack at Ross Dress for Less with that outfit he wears.
Sherry, get the razor blades and put them up. Because I'm at my wit's end. MVP is talking, and Prince Nana comes in and says, I used to be a wrestler too. I'll kick your ass. And MVP says, and this was a great segment. MVP says, I'm not the complaints department. I'd like for you to speak to our complaints department if you have an issue. And it's Sheldon Benjamin. I thought this whole segment was great. These are professionals. It came off as professional. I said, this was perfect. They nailed this. They hit it out of the park. When did this air, might I ask?
When did this air?
Yeah.
This aired at 9:45.
Oh, really?
642,000. Yes, 9:45, 642,000. Remember,
so what was at the 9:30 hour?
They got another 40 stop. We covered all that. It was a hodgepodge of Hook, Cage, May, Willow, Private Party versus
and what was that?
The Iron Savages or whoever they are. The Elite and Shibata, Daniels. They do stuff.
Yeah, but what was the rating?
What for that? It was a 708. And then when
that's what I'm saying. So that's when it climbed up. Like, I can't understand.
No, hang on a second. When all those people I just mentioned came out at 9:30 in that 15 minutes, it was 708,000. When MVP came out with Shelton Benjamin, it dropped down to 642,000.
Well, that was the best part of this. And then we're going to get Okada versus Bryanson. And I said, I can't do this. I'm going to fast forward to the end of this shit. I know this is not going to end in the first 20 minutes. Tony Khan had been hyping all day that this is going to run extra long, so make sure your DVRs are covered online. He was going crazy about it, and it did. And I want to say it ran until the 10:30 time frame.
Yes, it did. I turned it off. And I tapped out. I said, I'm done.
I came back to see
this show's so horrible. Done.
I came back to see the end of it once it was all over with. And to my non-surprise, the Cracker Connection came running in and began beating the shit out of him. And out came Wheeler Yuta to save the day with a hammer.
The Bill Goldberg of the new generation. Go ahead.
And I'm done. This is 2 weeks in a row that this show has made me bail on the main event because I cannot handle the nonsensical nature that they're presenting a wrestling program to me. No one's ever going to confuse this with Mid-South. I can guarantee you this much. No one's going to confuse this with Jim Crockett Promotions. Between the Cracker Connection and the Shane McMahon shit, I'm done.
Wheeler Yuta looks like the kid who inherited Clint Eastwood's car in Gran Torino.
He does a little bit.
That's what he looks like.
He's the sidekick that gets on your nerves, that always starts shit and gets his ass kicked, and you can't get rid of him. He's not big enough to whoop nobody. So that was this show. 680,000. Well-earned, shitty rating. My God.
You want to know what the ratings were for the overruns?
Yeah, let's
go. First overrun, 596,000, down from 640.
Wow.
The second overrun, 574,000, down from 596. And the last overrun, they ended up with 561,000 people, down from 574.
Because their champ's not over. He appeals to a small niche fan. Sorry.
That's it.
Bryanson ain't the guy.
Is it the beard? Is it the beard? Is it the vegan lifestyle? Is it the mouthy wife? Is it the R. Kelly haircut? What is it? How's he fallen from grace like this? The best wrestler in the world, Don. That's what they say.
According to who? Okay.
That's what they say, Don. Don, what would you do to turn this ship around besides hire a booker? You've got to get this. You got to get the budget under control. New name for the group: White Power Combat Club. Thank you, the Ashen Chevalier or Chevalier.
Chevalier.
Canadian money, $2. That's probably worth $10 in American money.
It is right now, but I ain't gonna get into that.
Yes, it is.
I can't keep watching this shit. We got to talk about the PLE this weekend, though, real quick.
We don't have to watch AEW anymore?
I might not, Bottles. You keep messing around.
What?
Keep tempting me to not watch this shit.
We'll pick up TNA then.
I honestly, at this point in time, I'm almost ready to start watching that just because I can't keep this up. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you talking about? You'll talk about PLE real quick?
What would you... If you've just signed a contract and you're underwater, budget-wise, why would you sign MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin? They're coming as the Hurt Syndicate. And rumor has it they're going to have a couple of guys, a couple of African-American gentlemen from that roster in AEW, link up with them and try to elevate a couple other guys. Why would you do it? Why would you sign big names?
Because they have
like
to
Bobby
fight
Lashley?
the Cracker Connection. You have to
Would
have
they really
racial
put the
gang
Cracker
warfare.
Connection against a black faction?
You have to have the racial warfare. He's bringing back 1998 Raw. I don't know how else to describe it, man. I don't know how else to describe it.
It's the Nation of Domination versus the Cracker Connection.
I mean, here we go. All right, here we go. PLE is Saturday. I will be watching Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. Hell in a Cell. Who you got and why?
They're even up right now, right?
Yeah, they're one each.
I'd have to say there would be no finish to this.
There will be a
Someone
finish.
Interfere.
That will be a finish.
I don't know. I think someone's going to
There
interfere.
will be
and take
a
it
finish.
Away.
That's the whole point of Hell in a Cell.
McIntyre. McIntyre will beat Punk due to shenanigans.
I will agree with you on that, actually. Believe it or not. I believe Drew McIntyre wins. CM Punk is the older wrestler. He needs to put over this younger talent, although it's not much younger. But Drew McIntyre's got the longevity. Women's match, Nia Slax versus Bayley.
Nia Slax versus Bayley. I would say Nia Slax retains.
Nia
and then
Slax
she gets
loses.
cashed on. You think
Nia
so?
loses, and then the cash-in happens. That's what I think.
So they'll still be friends in your eyes.
Yes.
And then Nia will be jealous of Tiffany because Tiffany has her belt.
Yes. What is the other match?
I
We've
think-
got okay, go ahead. Go say your piece.
I'd have to say that I believe Nia will win. She'll retain. And Tiffany will once again try to cash in on Nia. And then she'll think better of it and not do it. Go ahead, Don.
The other match is, of course, Damian Priest versus Finn Balor.
Damian Priest is going to beat Finn Balor. Although he doesn't need
Priest
to.
wins.
I think Balor needs to beat Priest to elevate Balor. He's a wee lad.
He is a wee lad. He's a bit of a pisser. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley.
Liv Morgan beats Rhea Ripley with the help of Raquel Rodriguez, her former tag team partner.
She's coming back. You think it's time?
I think it's time, and I think she'll be another member of the Judgment Day. And she'll be the enforcer. She'll be the Camille to Liv Morgan's Mercedes Moné.
They can't get but so big, man. There's already, 5 people in this damn group?
They need a big woman to tower over everybody else in the group. I'm just saying, I don't know.
I don't think I like the way you say big woman. And then the end of the
Big leg
show,
woman ain't got no soul. Go ahead.
Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes versus Solo and Jacob Fatu. I think we both know how this ends. Solo takes the pin. Jacob turns, and here we go.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear the Rock's coming. I hear the Rock's coming.
Well, McAfee said when he was interviewing Cody Rhodes for his podcast, he goes, offhanded comment, I understand the big guy's coming back. Who's the big guy? Is it The Rock or is it Brock?
Brock who? Lesnar?
They just added Brock Lesnar back to the main roster on the website.
That'd be
He's
some
in
crazy
there.
shit. That'd be some crazy shit. What the hell is going on? Sorry, folks. I'm doing some shit over here. So that's the PLE. I'm looking forward to watching that this weekend. Bottles, you have any closing shots? Thursday Night Football is about to kick off. I know some of the folks in the chat room are anxious to watch it. We got a couple of notes. We want to thank you all again for watching tonight. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notifications button. Glad to see some familiar faces in here. We worried about you guys. Shout out again to the East Tennessee folks and all the people in the region that were affected by the hurricane. We do have some viewers on the show that watch. We appreciate you guys. I saw the comments. Praying for you.
That's true. Yes, we are. Renowned wrestling analyst Dave Meltzer said, AEW did 680,000.2 in the demo, going 30 minutes plus long, hurt, plus 2 baseball playoffs games, and larger than usual news ratings. That's what Dave said. Drinking the copium. NXT did 895,000.26 in the demo last night. Premiere usually is much higher than the show settles in at. Week 3 to 4 is when you really get a better feel for it.
He just can't not say that shit. He just can't.
Release. It's a Tony Khan press release.
He can't just say, here's the numbers. Because I guess, hey, Bottles, I know you're not a big baseball fan. Guess what was going on Tuesday night?
Playoff games.
Yeah, MLB playoff games.
Yes.
It's no different. It's no different. Dumbass, man. I swear this guy.
Have you seen
Please
Don
go
and
play
Matt
in traffic. Please go play in traffic. Or clean your office. Either one's the same odds.
I don't think he knows how to get out of that office. His wife's got to come in and help him out. Matt Cardona is shocked that
the Braves
WWE
are
or
lost.
AEW haven't made him an offer.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this guy with his bullshit.
This guy and
That
his
dude-
shit. This guy and his hot wife and this shit.
Dude, he
can't
just
get him into WWE.
annoys me, man.
It's a bunch of shit.
He just annoys me, Bottles.
Matt Cardona? Why?
Yeah, just his whole demeanor annoys the shit out of me.
You ain't got to get pot about it, Don. You don't have to get all pissed off, Don. We're just talking wrestling. We're just two fat, unhealthy men talking about wrestling, Don. You know what the neckbeards say. That's what we are. Penta. El Maido, Zero,
Del
Pentaco, whatever
Vikingo.
his name is. He said
In
that
Mexico.
everyone defends their interest. Tony is defending his interest. We're defending ours. My current situation is that I'm still under contract with AEW. That's my present. The future, wink, wink, I haven't even thought about. I'm literally under contract with AEW. I can't even think about or negotiate with another company or talk about it. I would play the clip, but it's all in Spanish.
Can I say something about that?
Yes, Don. Go ahead.
No one cares.
No one cares, Don. Unless you're in your
No
basement.
one cares. The next witness, Your Honor.
And Shawn Michaels said, so
Have you
if
seen
it's
my
in
eye?
CM Punk's heart to take over NXT when I'm done, absolutely. And again, I will say whether it's CM Punk or anyone that's got a passion for it, I absolutely understand it because it happened to me. This place is infectious. He
Here's the
loves
thing with
running
Shawn
NXT.
Michaels.
Yes.
If you would have told me 10 years ago that Shawn Michaels would be eat up with the wrestling business from a booker perspective, I'd have said you were hanging out on street corners with $2 Sally selling hot pistols and bags of crack. He's into this. He's into this, man.
$2 Sally?
$2 Sally.
And she hangs out with $5 Fanny, don't she?
Yes, she does.
Don, before the premiere episode of AEW Rampage last year, Tony Khan made the following promise about AEW's third hour of weekly television. I promise Rampage is going to be a secondary show. Rampage is going to be the equivalent and the partner of Dynamite.
And it's gone.
Canceled. And it's going to be gone.
Again, I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notifications button. We got the Saints and the Falcons going off in a minute. Bottles, who you taking and why?
I take the Saints, Don.
You know who wouldn't take the Saints?
Yes.
Till next week, Gordon Soley saying so long from the Sunshine State.